Hey, welcome to In the Heart of History. Today's video focuses on my journey to Charlotte, North Carolina to go see Settler Cemetery. So if you've seen any videos from my channel, you know that I talk about all things history. And right now I've been specializing more so in going to different graveyards and cemeteries. And that's more because it's a passion to me. So I like to go and show you the graveyards and cemeteries I've been to. Also, I like to specialize on and show you the unique gravestones and headstones that I find because I know that everybody not necessarily wants to go to a graveyard or cemetery, but I think sometimes you miss out on the beauty. You miss out so much that people can do with the headstones because I've seen some beautiful headstones and I want to just start showing you all those so you can see how much people have poured into their final resting place. Another reason for me going to the cemetery was basically to see the condition, the area, check out the stones, and just see what similar settler cemetery is all about. So I went there and they made it almost into like a park where they've created different walkways. So I went there on a Sunday morning and I saw lots of people walking around, a lot of people walking their dogs around, just having a good old time, a good old Sunday morning. They have two plaques out there at the cemetery, and I'm going to kind of read you some of what's on one. One of the plaques has a list of all the inhabitants of the graveyard, and then one has like a small, like a little paragraph, and then like a map locator on that paragraph, which is cool because you can actually connect the numbers to one plaque to the other plaque because you see the plaques now and then you know who's in what grave. It's just kind of cool. It's time consuming because you have to sit there and kind of connect the dots, but I love that they have that there. It's very unique and it means that they really want to keep this cemetery current and they want people to enjoy the cemetery and learn about the inhabitants of the cemetery. So I'm going to go back to this plaque and read. So I'm going to start with the first paragraph. So Charlotte was established in 1768 by settlers who were, for the most part, Scots-Irish Presbyterians. In the first quarter of the 19th century, a church was built in town to be used by all denominations. Presbyterian minister John Thompson is said to have preached in the Blacksmith's Grove. So the Blacksmith's Grove is now where First Presbyterian Church is, or Presbyterian Church is. So that's directly across the street. And as you see, I have some little spotlights of it in my video, the big, beautiful looking church. So it's across the street from the cemetery on 5th Street. And that's been there, and he basically started ministering there in the early 1750s. As was the custom, a graveyard was laid off adjacent to the church to be used as a common burial ground for the town of Charlotte. Settler Cemetery is still owned by the city of Charlotte. Now, it's still owned by the city of Charlotte. However, because it's so old and it's pretty much packed, nobody else can be buried there. So it just remains unique in that it was a cemetery established a long time ago. And it's basically filled up with the pioneers of the city. So now I'm going to the second paragraph, which before I do that, look at that church right there. That's the First Presbyterian Church. Get a nice little look of it there. So the second paragraph goes by surviving gravestones date from 1776 to 1844. During this time, many of Charlotte's founding pioneers and veterans of the Revolutionary and Civil Wars were laid to rest here. Graves are arranged in family groups and not in rigid rows. So that basically means that they were crucial about putting family members together. Versus nowadays, you have like the newer graveyards where they have everything set in rows. And you might have a family member here, but then the other family member is way down on the other row or a few rows over. In the old days, they kept to that family grouping in this cemetery. So to continue, the northeast area of the cemetery is said to have been set aside for the service of the families buried here. None of the markers for these graves, typically plain wood or stone, have survived. That to me is a bad thing because I wish that I love graveyards, I love gravestones, so I want to go to a graveyard and see nothing but gravestones and learn the names of people and then see what they. Because sometimes they have like a little special, inscription on them, And I just love to see the beauty put into some of these gravestones. But sadly, these servants did not have any gravestones. And the stones that it did that were laid out, of course, could not weather the test of time. They could not weather the environment elements either. So we don't have much of a record, like a physical face-to-face record. I'm going to go into this third paragraph now. So additional information about the cemetery and the early history of Charlotte in Mecklenburg County can be found on plaques at the cemetery's edge along 5th Street. So those were the two plaques we saw. One is full of names, and the next one has the brief paragraph that I'm reading from now, and like a map attached to that plaque as well. So it says full transcriptions of surviving gravestone epitaphs can be found at the Public Library of Charlotte in Mecklenburg County, 310 North Tryon Street. So, amen that they do have actual information about everybody that is buried there. Bad thing again is that you actually have to take another step and go to the public library to actually get the information for the people buried there. So that's the only downside to it. But I'm so happy that they do actually have just the information that people, even the servants, the well-to-do people. I'm just happy they have the information so that history has not died. So I'm just kind of still walking through the cemetery and looking at this unique gravestone right here, which is fenced in, but it's like the little one right in front. I don't know if that's like I would guess it was a small child, and I don't know. I couldn't really see the writing on these, so I don't know if that's the parents within the gate, and then the small child's out front. I'm not sure, but you see the condition of some of that mausoleum is very unique, and it has definitely weathered the test of time. But you see the one next to it is very broken up. So I don't think they actually go in to do any kind of repairs to these graves. I think they just try to keep them as original as possible. But some of them are crumbling. But despite the crumbling, they're still in pretty good condition. So we're kind of walking through more of the cemetery and seeing what it has. A lot of public buildings are around the cemetery as well. So it's not just the parking garages, it's different businesses, and it's a lot of apartments as well in the neighborhood. So a lot of those people that were walking around actually live around, so they can just go walking through the cemetery and take their dogs walking, which is cool. Now, if you're in Charlotte, there's also other things you can do. For instance, go to Carowinds, a theme park. You can also check out NASCAR Hall of Fame, which is cool. They also have Discovery Place of Science, which I just told you about. It's a block away from the cemetery. And if you want to go shopping, check out Concord Mills. It is huge. Lots of shopping there. And if you love football, Carolina Panthers. If you love basketball, Charlotte Hornets. Follow for more videos.